Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Happy National Day. Thank you so much for spending your holiday to attend this talk. I'm Ping.
And I'm Anne. We are the MC for this talk. So yeah, we are so proud to have Lyn-Hui here in our Create Art Recon 2020.
Yay!
All right. I think she brought her partner with her also, right? Do you mind to show your face and say hi?
This is my partner Jin. So yeah, because I'll be presenting not only my work but also about my studio. So yeah, my partner.
Good night.
Okay. All right. So Lyn-Hui, are you ready?
Not really, but okay.
Okay. So if you're ready, okay, the time is yours now.
Okay. Hi. I'm not sure how many people are there, but I'm just gonna do as though I'm talking to myself because I can't see anybody. Okay. I'm not sure how many people know me, but I'm gonna just briefly introduce myself. I am Lyn-Hui. You can call me Lyn. And some of you probably seen me from articles like this or this or this. But maybe most of you don't even know who am I. But that is not important because today I'm going to talk about the importance of drawing, not the importance of knowing me. So yeah, okay, why I chose this topic? I'm going to tell you a brief story of my background and why I feel that drawing is important to me. Okay, so I am from mainland Penang, which is the very rural part of Penang that nobody knows. And I grew up having this artist dream. You know, I wanted to be an artist, be a designer. But coming from a small place like that, people don't think that you really can make it into a real job. So as a kid, I started drawing even before I started speaking. Probably at I think about age of 3, I started drawing already. And then 4 or 5 years old, my parents were watching Titanic, and then I sat beside, and then I didn't know what I was watching because I was just a kid. So I saw this nude scene, and they were doing something I didn't know what were they doing back then, but I thought it was pretty interesting because people not wearing clothes and doing something. So I started doodling at that age, 4 to 5 years old. I started doodling people playing on a playground but naked, and playing on a swing, going down the slide. And then my mom saw it. She was not mad at all, and then she found it very hilarious. So she was kind of proud. She kept showing her friends and family that I do this. So since young, my mom actually encouraged me to pursue art. Instead of many Chinese Asian families, very stereotype one, they will tell you, hey, don't be artists because artists only get well known when they die. But yeah, I'm blessed. So when I was a kid, my uncle actually asked me if I have a magic wand, what will my dream job be? So I said, I wanted to work in Disney in US and be an animator or a character. And but that's not really realistic. Because my mom fell sick and I had to work part-time. I couldn't work full-time. And So that is why I started Foil Studio, which is a studio my partner and Lyn and I started. So yeah, Foil
much.
Studio is consists of me, him, and our three cats. I don't know if you'll see them later, but maybe you will. These three cats basically are like our bosses.
They are actually our motivation to work every day because
Yeah.
our goal of setting up Foil Studio is to provide better life for our pets.
To sustain.
Essentially.
Yeah. So you can tell I'm a crazy cat lady. But yeah. So back to the story. You probably seen some of our works before and featured in books like this one. Yeah. Our studio has been running for 8 years already. And we do mainly design and illustration. So that is why we chose this topic, the importance of drawing, because we do design and illustration. I'm gonna start. Okay. So in 2021, everybody here probably like do their design work digitally, and I don't know how many of you guys still draw, but like even if you're a logo designer, you do branding, your editorial layout, 3D modeler, web design, or you do animation. I mean, most of the students nowadays, or graduates or creatives, they start their projects straight using your iPad or your computer. Yeah. So drawing still so important, man. To me, yes. So that's why I'm here to convince you that drawing is actually still very important. Although we know that there are many free resources for illustrations out there. Okay, the first very, very realistic advantage. I'm here not to sell you on how to be an artist, but how to survive as a designer, as a creative. So the first advantage is if you know how to draw, it's actually a very, very good thing for you because you're flexible. You can do basically anything and you can design anything. Did I exaggerate that? Not really. So yeah, I'm going to start with our showing examples of our work, graphic design work. So some publications, some animation, whatever. You'll just see. Yeah.
So this is like one of our first job and also the reason why we started Foil Studio actually. So we were approached by an US architect firm. They have a project in Vietnam. It's a town planning project. So our task is to create this presentation book that they are going to submit to local authority for approval. So it's a very boring content. So our job is to use the limited resources that they gave us. So practically just 3D white blocks and architectural plans and all that.
Boring stuff.
Yeah, so our job is to beautify them. So we did our custom icon design. So we did this artist impression that we illustrated based on their 3D rendering.
So like, because this is our first huge project, we were working with like adults, like legit like 40-year-old, 50-year-old architect.
Old people.
Yeah. Cannot. So I mean, we're not young also. I'm 20 something. But anyway, that time when we were working on this project, we were like 20 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the discussion that we had in the hotel room, and then because we needed to have a company, I mean, bill and invoice.
Set our company.
Yeah, properly do it properly
And then we're like, this is for real, man.
Yeah.
For real. So, and then that is how we got our studio name. A little story, like non-relevant to illustration, but let's move on. Okay. So for publication, we've also done quite a lot of book covers. So this one is for Hong Ting Ting. So if you grow up in Malaysia, you probably heard of this Hong Ting Ting before. It's a Chinese publishing company. And yeah, a very cool thing about working with publishing companies is that you get to read the first manuscript of all the stories before they are being published to the public. So yay, free advantage. Okay.
Right, so this is another boring book, but our task is to make it interesting. So this is sponsored by Aspen Group, which is a property developer in Penang. and the syllabus is designed by Ayobina. So our job is to make that boring syllabus into interesting playbook. Okay, the program is actually about it's a playbook for innovators, so entrepreneurship, that kind of content.
So basically making boring stuff appealing to youngsters. So it's like a very modern dictionary concept.
Yeah, interesting textbook lah.
So yeah, we did this. And then we also do a lot of children's books, which is kind of my forte. So like just now I said I wanted, since like very, very young, I wanted to be working for Disney, and this is something like working with Disney because this is actually, we worked with an Aussie company, publishing house, and they bought the rights to publish a Peter Pan book. And then they emailed me saying, hi, we like your style. So I had all this total freedom to design all my characters, like all the Peter Pan characters. So like the mermaid has like mermaid hair. And yeah. So it was pretty fun because I've never thought that I could paint Wendy. I can, create my own characters. And then slowly I had more portfolio, and then more publishing companies started to reach out to me. More authors started to reach out to me. This one was for a Penang-based UK author. So she wrote a story about snails and insects, and this is 3 cockroaches playing in a bed. It was very weird stuff. Okay, so yeah,
this is also weird.
Yeah, it's a pink monster.
Pretty trippy.
So like I'm actually, we are both advertising and graphic design graduates, but I started studying graphic design is because I really like drawing. I really like arts, and I want to venture into creative field. That's why, and then I wanted to sustain myself at the same time. That's why I chose advertising, and I end up drawing weird things. So you never know, like if you know how to draw, you never know where you would end up.
And so we covered books, publication. We covered, what else did we cover? Yeah, we covered stuff.
Books.
Yeah, so we try to use illustration in most of our work. It's a very powerful tool to tell a story. So for example, this is actually a sun-dried products. So these are Juhua, that kind of stuff. But how to market it to a higher scale market. So we did this custom illustration, branding also done by us. So the concept is like butterfly is matching with natural ingredients, so like rose, goji berries, that kind of stuff. So we try to make this interesting packaging design. So the next one is this is a instant ramen by Grandmaster. So they already have an existing mascot, but it didn't really match with the art direction that we wanted to go for. So we kind of reinvent the mascot into a more chibi, more cute version. So that's how it looked like. So for the spicy variant, the character is spitting fire. Everything is kind of cool. I mean, illustration gave us that flexibility to add in this kind of touch on product. So we wanted to avoid that, and we counter proposed with our customized, stylized spot illustration that we think complement the product itself.
Yeah, we think that will be more appealing when you put on a shelf.
And it also helped our client to differentiate their products from their competitors.
So besides that, we also do animation. I mean, we ourselves, we can't animate, but we provide illustration to animators. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna stop.
So you can see that we use a lot of different styles for
yeah.
different clients, for different needs. So this is by Asas Dunia, another property developer in Penang. So they wanted to use this video to educate their buyers on how they manage their fund to build infrastructures around their neighborhood. So the content itself
Super boring.
Yeah, boring, but illustration has this power to bring a story alive.
Yeah.
Especially when it's done in the animated form.
Yeah, I mean, when you got this brief, it was like all words, and then
Yeah, it's a very boring Excel file that so we did like starting from storyboard and talk to client and everything, and work with an animator to bring this alive. No?
Yeah. Yeah, another boring client. Okay, so this one is done for a China insurance company called Taikang. So insurance company, 人寿保险 stuff like that. So they really wanted to do, a lot of insurance ads are like video form. So they really want to tackle the young adults. So they wanted this specific style, and we went with it. And yeah, so we provide style frames and in layers, and then this one was also a boring one. It's actually a PSA for discrimination against migrants in Southeast Asia. So yeah, you can see. Basically, I think animation is cool because it's basically illustration but another level. And yeah, this one is.
So we actually did 2 videos for this campaign. A pretty meaningful campaign, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the message is noble. And through this project, Lyn tried this art direction that we didn't really try before. Yeah, it's a fresh take lah. So it, having illustration and having it in different style really makes our work a little bit more exciting. So it's different every day, different job. Yeah, it's like entering different world with every job.
As a designer, a lot of people, they start to say, oh, I want to be very artistic, I want to do minimalist stuff. I mean, sure, you can do that, but if everybody's doing it, how do you stand out among your client, right? So yeah, we really want to focus on personalized illustration for each client. Okay, next one, branding.
Okay, for Black Adder is a cafe in Penang. So we did from the logo to menu and everything. And same thing for, because for this particular project, we wanted a more homey, early tone to the entire branding. So we did some hand-drawn pencil sketching of all these fruits for their jam packaging design, and some other spot illustration for the menu to add to the earthy tone that we wanted. And this is actually an app UI design for Kanadaya. Kanadaya is a UK ramen chain. They recently opened some new branches in Singapore, so they launched a new app. So even for app, we try to sneak in some spot illustration that we really like. One is like the food categories, so ramen, don, gyoza, beverage. I mean, yeah.
This one is for China House. It's also a cafe in Georgetown, Penang. So basically, we not a newspaper. So it's like in a very old newspaper format, and we did little illustrations, and Jin even designed the Chinese typography. Yeah. So it was nice.
It was done years ago.
Yeah.
Quite
old.
Yeah, one of our earlier jobs. Illustration is also a very strong tool to kind of visualize data.
Yeah.
So this is a project funded by Penang State Government years ago. It's a SIP program to fund startups in Penang. So so they have this flow chart. It's very technical, like step by step on how to get this funding. and we incorporated some spot illustration to make this flowchart easier to understand and to add a little bit more personality because tech startups, I mean, yeah, it gets really cold, so we want to add a little bit more warmth to this project.
Besides that, advertising. So you realize that we are covering different
criteria
of graphic design.
Mm.
Because we're advertising and graphic design students. So this one is of course my favorite because it's by Netflix US. So one day I received an email and it's from Netflix US, and then oh my god! So they asked me if I'm interested to be among 18 other artists globally to participate in this program representing Malaysia. Am I interested? Of course I'm interested. And then so I got to choose my favorite episode, and then I chose the Trick or Treat Freak episode because they were all like in Ghostbusters outfit. And then so when I chose my episode, they just required me to do a sketch in my style. So they wanted my style. It's like Netflix wanted my style. So I'm like pretty starstruck. This is like the next best thing to Disney. No offense, Disney, but yeah.
They changed the thing, right, from the sketch?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
They just ran with it, right?
Yeah.
Freedom somehow.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, they are very good as clients. Netflix are very good. They are very good. Payment also very good. So and it all started because I did. I think 4 years or 5 years ago. 4 years. I think 4 years. 4 years ago, I started drawing a lot of Stranger Things fan art, and then I would tag Netflix. And you think they don't notice you because they don't like your things, like although you tag them, but you're wrong. They are secretly like collecting data, who draw what, and then I mean, if you're really interested in doing projects for anyone in particular, any client in particular, you can just do a fan project and then during a free time and just tag them because they are like secretly looking at your work. So this one is for Uniqlo. It was last year during the pandemic. So obviously when you're during COVID time, you can't go out and film anything. So we've done a lot of animations because we're like staying indoors 24/7. And this one is the message is to send hugs through Uniqlo. This is not a sponsor ad, sorry, but it was a fun thing to do because they did not change anything also. Like I did the storyboard and then they just went with it. So yay. Besides animation, advertising, we also do map design. Yeah, we basically do sorry, my cat jumped up my table. Sorry. Okay. So we did map design and we were approached by this YB from Platicus.
In Penang lah.
Yeah. And sorry, my cat is jumping.
Yeah, so this project is this YB wanted to introduce a new bus route essentially, and then they wanted a new map of Platicus. So we did all this spot illustration that kind of marks the landmarks of Platicus, place of interest and all that. And this is a fantasy map that we did for Snail Tales, the book that Lyn introduced earlier. It's a fantasy map for a storybook. For snails.
Snails. Yeah. We never thought that we would draw a map for snails.
Yeah, I mean the client drafted a rough one, telling us like what, when, where, and then we just do it. It's quite fun. It's quite fun.
Yeah. So environmental graphics.
Forest Studio also does signage and wayfinding system and environmental graphic design. So this is a project that we did for High 10, which is a
kindergarten.
Yeah, kindergarten. So they have this blank wall they wanted us to fill. They are the main company behind all the
Selling the junk food.
Yeah, Twisties, Jacobs, Tiger Biscuits, Chips Mall, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Each floor has different murals, and we got the chance to do like 6 murals for the
One
whole
level.
entire level.
Yeah.
And this is our favorite one, which is we drew this giant fox. And I'm sorry, our cat is messing around. So if you hear something in the background, it's probably our cat. So yeah, I'll never expect to draw a giant fox in my life. So yeah. This one is a recent one we did for Okini Sushi. It's a newly opened sushi bar in Village Grocer in Penang. And so we
So we did their branding. I mean, the logo that Okini is done by us, and then we worked closely with the interior designer, and then they actually reserved a blank wall for us to make into a feature wall. So we proposed a cat sushi thing as their mascot. Because it's a grab and go sushi place, so we thought of like a chopstick coming in from upstairs and grab and go. I mean, grab the cat sushi mascot character. Yeah. So and then the client actually.
Mine is Japanese, so he probably
the Japanese chef
really like cats.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is events. Why the reason for the sad face is because COVID. Okay, so we've been doing this heritage festival for heritage celebration in Penang, Georgetown, Penang, for many years now. I think 4 or 5 years. And it's an outdoor interactive exhibition where they actually close down the whole Georgetown, and people go out and play games. The good times. So this year in particular was for traditional games and sports. So instead of the very nostalgic, brownish traditional colors, we chose to do something very daring, which is very young and vibrant, because we wanted kids to come out and play instead of hiding at home playing their phones. And so we chose a very pop art style. Yeah, so we did everything for the whole event. Yeah, and some illustrations of real heritage sites.
For the map.
Yeah, it's for the map. And yeah, this is for the next year, and the client actually let us print out the whole thing and die cut of like huge
life size
nasi lemak. And
yeah.
I think I really learned a lot from this project, because we had to do like extensive research. We had to work with a
researcher.
From their outfits to every detail on their hair and everything.
And I think
to be accurate.
Yeah, and I think another challenge is because we've been doing it like for a few years, so we have to make it like different.
Yeah.
So that's also quite a challenge for us to kind of force us to explore different art style for different events. And this is a very recent project that we did. It's by Penang Science Cluster, supported by US Embassy. It's called Virus Hunter. It's an exhibition about this pandemic, actually. And their target audience is actually primary schoolers and secondary schoolers. So we did their KB, we did all their sport illustration, we did the exhibition panels and all that.
It's supposed to be like very serious education stuff, but we tried to make it like not serious at all.
I mean, approachable.
Yeah.
Fun learning. Yeah.
For kids.
Yeah, for kids.
Okay, and then we did character design. This one is for China, a ballet museum in China. So they requested a mascot, and of course they wanted a panda, right? So it was a panda ballerina.
Pandalerina.
This is something creepy they done with is a prototype. Doesn't look anyway, but yeah, they're still working on it. But yeah, and this one is for a Korean telecommunication company. They wanted to do something like Line Friends, so they gave us the brief on what character represents what. So they're all very different and very weird. And yeah, we did this, which is also very weird. We also do products. This one was for AirAsia last year. So since the pandemic, everyone cannot fly anymore. Everyone cannot fly. Yeah, cannot fly. So that's why they started selling groceries, and they approached us and we designed their grocery bags with along with the tagline "Skip the queue." Yeah, and because of limited budget, so limited colors. I kind of like it. Yeah.
So this is Yenhe is a agri factory that makes animal feeds. So they wanted a merchandise. So we did something like this for their tote bag.
Yeah. And we do these cards are in production. They are actually communication cards for kids with special needs to communicate with their parents. So we actually designed using animals instead of humans because we want to avoid humans with different skin types or we don't want it to be like the humans in particular race. So the client requested to use animals instead because kids relate very much to animals. So yeah, like yeah, it's very cute. Sorry, I just said my own work is very cute, but yeah. We also do invitation design. So when you say drawing, it means drawing in a lot of form.
Yeah. So this Georgetown World Heritage Incorporated is the body that governs the heritage site aspect of Georgetown in Penang. So they wanted an invitation card cover that they can reuse it every time for different events. So they wanted something that's more classy. So we gave them bronze hot foil stamp. And the concept is actually a lot of different Peranakan tiles in different sizes, in different patterns, coming together to form a beautiful picture. So it's all about diversity and all that. Yeah. That's how we convince the client. And the client liked it very much.
Okay, and they have budget, so
yeah.
Okay, and we do wedding invitations as well. So we design the mechanism of the invitation card,
the sleeve, the card, and we did personalized illustrations based on the bride and groom.
This one is more traditional media.
Watercolor.
So yeah, that covers advantage one, which is being flexible. Sorry, too long already, I forget. But yeah, so there was a lot of our works. Like when people ask us, hey, can you do this? Can you do animation? Can you design a signboard? Can you design this, that? And then we're like, we design everything, like because we can customize. When you can draw, you can customize anything based on what the client wants. So advantage two is okay. So like among like everybody here as a creative, there's so many creatives out there. Like why do we want to know how to draw? Is because we want to stand out among our peers. And because nowadays it's very easy when a client approach you and say, oh, can I have an illustration of this? Can I have an illustration of that? And then although you cannot draw it, sure, you can download free resources online, but we've seen like people using the same graphics on two very different advertisements at the same time. So it's something you really want to avoid, although it's very easy and a quick fix for you. You just download and then you put it on your work. And your client will probably like it, but I mean, we really try to avoid that. So what is so special about us is we really like to personalize illustrations for our clients, and that will probably make them feel special also. The third advantage is when selling and pitching ideas to client. So how it works in a real life situation is the client will probably brief you, the creative brief, and then ask you, oh, when can I see your draft? Or when can you send me your ideas, blah, blah, blah. Or they'll just ask you your idea on the spot. And then they expect you to, boom, have the final idea like in one day. But in our experience, it's always nice to bring a sketchbook along, or even iPad, you just sketch your ideas. And they are very, very amazed with designers or animators who can draw storyboards on the spot, who can sketch something on the spot. And it's very good for the whole process because it's quick, instant feedback. And when you're working with clients, it's not like doing weekly assignments or doing like final project. So you have one whole week to compile your research, to compile everything. It's not really like that. It's really like your client will WhatsApp you every 10 minutes. So you really have to be quick. And yeah, because time is money. And advantage 4 is you definitely have more control of your work if you know how to draw. Because in different creative fields, there's always a place where the illustrator comes in. So for example, animation project. If you are an animator, which I think a lot of you are, or maybe there are a few of you who are animators. I'm not sure. I can't see you. So I'm like talking to myself. But yeah, for an animator to work on a project, you need to start on a storyboard first, and then you need to have a style frame, which is one frame fully colored by an illustrator. Only you can really work on the whole animation. So if you are an animator who cannot draw, possibly you have to split your portion of
you have to outsource it to
you
someone
have to
else.
outsource to someone else. And that's it. You can't really envision the outcome of your project because you have to hire someone else to execute your ideas. Same thing with branding. If you have a very good logo, a very strong logo, but your client bring in a mascot designer and the thing they design is out of your control, which is something different from what you're going, then sorry, man. Yeah, same thing. So why hire someone to execute your ideas? Because only you know what you want. Like only you can envision the final outcome that you really want. So it's best to just execute your own ideas. But if you really cannot, like we can't animate anything, but we are illustrators. So for us, the advantage of knowing illustration is to expand that work. We can do anything. We can draw comic books. We can do animation. We can do packaging. So to us, we can venture into a lot more fields. So yeah, why not? And advantage 5 is basically having a second income, doing freelance work.
So this is a red packet design that we did this year, just for fun, because nobody else is hiring us to do red packet. So we thought like, yeah, why not we do it ourselves as a self promo kind of material. So we send this all over Malaysia and some to Singapore to our clients and friends and family. And in return, it brought us some new jobs also. So I would say it's a successful investment.
Yeah. We also sold some coloring books. We did a customizable storybook with some investors, and yeah. Besides that, okay, if you think that selling products is too expensive or you really don't have the budget for that, sell online. You just draw something 2D, 3D, whatever. A lot of people selling NFTs now. So maybe you could just try. And there are websites like Society6, Imprint, TeePublic, where you can just produce an artwork and then you upload and you try to market through Instagram. Social media is free, so you're already selling something, although you don't have the capital for it. Yeah, and also my favorite one is commissions, because I personally do a lot of commissions for different people around the world. So this one is for a New Yorker, someone from New York. So she is a stand-up comedian and slash singer. So she wanted something weird. So she had this event called Sardines, and she had this weird request. So I never in my life thought I would draw something like this, but yeah. Couple illustrations, family portraits, yeah, different things. And okay, this one I particularly wanted to tell this story because there's this client from Mexico, so she emailed me, and then because she's seen my Instagram, and on Instagram I draw a lot of personal stuff on how I deal with my grief, my loss. So a lot of people, they would message me and talk about this. And this particular client, she messaged me and then she told me, oh, my dad passed away, and she really needed something that could visual, that she could make it into a visual, and she could see and immortalize this moment forever, like when she lost her dad. And yeah, she wanted me to draw her dad. And then when I sent this to her, she was crying and she was in tears, but she was like happy and sad at the same time. And then yeah, so this one is very close to my heart. And then 2 years later, her husband died again. So like, she's very 倒霉一下, but yeah, when you work on commissions, you know people, and then you kind of be part of their lives. And like for this client, I every year for the anniversary, I confirm they will find me and draw a couple illustrations. So I feel very chosen. But okay, so we covered a lot of advantages, but how do you start? Well, inspiration is everywhere. You lie down on the bed and then you open Pinterest, you go on the Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you get inspired. Because truth be told, when we started Photo Studio, is like we had 90% of graphic design jobs, and only a small portion that requires illustration. And we really like hard sell our illustration, and we took a lot of time to build portfolio for illustrations. So we did a lot of personal work and fan arts. So we did a lot of experimenting. Yeah, and this one. So yeah, you never know who is looking at your work. So it's a really, really good investment if you draw on your free time and treat it as like a real project, and you just post it, because everybody starts from zero. Even like those verified designers accounts on Instagram, they started from zero also. So yeah. The conclusion is, if you really want to survive in this field, right, it's always good to have like an extra skill set. It doesn't have to be illustration. It could be photography. It could be calligraphy. It could be calligraphy. It could be anything. You just need something to make your passion feel alive. Because if imagine you're doing 10 years of graphic design, every day you open your laptop and then you click, and then you look at all the grids and everything. Oh man, I don't want to be a graphic designer like that. But
I think it's essential for creatives to have an open mind.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you graduate as a graphic designer, doesn't mean you have to do graphic design for the rest of your life.
Only
you can
graphic
always add in and learn something new.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
That's all.
Yeah, so that's all. We're a bit long-winded, sorry. And because it's my first time presenting, but yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you to our speaker Lyn-Hui for sharing her precious experience. So now we are going to our Q&A session. thank you so much to our speaker Lyn-Hui for sharing her precious experience. So now we are coming to our Q&A session. So let's go to our first question. So our first question is, with the clients approach from all over the world through email mostly, bracket I assume, okay, how did you manage the workflow or work process, especially in terms of communication and payment?
I think payment.
就让我讲。payment for new clients always take down payment or slash deposit lah. That's to kind of save our ass lah. Our usual pricing term is 50% upfront and 50% upon delivery. So that's I mean it's always try to be on the safe side to get them pay you down payment first, then only
to
commit.
Yourself.
Then only commit to the project. So that's one. That's payment
true.
one. Then timeline wise, you have to manage their expectation.
Whenever someone approached me, I would always say to them how my process works. So I have a template saved in my my laptop. So if they're asking for a commission, so I'll tell them, oh, okay, I give you 2 to 3 days. I'll do a rough sketch first, and once you approve, only we'll move on to colored version. Or I'll give you 2 or 3 options, and within 5 days, you have to show the progress, and they get back to you. So it really goes both ways. You have to be quick to respond to them. Only they will not delay you. And I think through email, it's once you are graduated, like most of the jobs, I mean 100% of the jobs are through email. Since now it's COVID, and you just need to write down your terms clear and like set a timeline, make out a timeline like for clients, like okay, 3 days I'm gonna send this, and you have to give me feedback on what date. So they have to respect your timeline as well. So it's same.
I think to manage a realistic timeline is important lah.
Yeah.
Tell them what's possible and what's impossible. Most of the time they will understand.
Yeah, agree. And I can see that there the second question is digital drawing considered as a demanding skill in this digital era now?
Yes, I say very. It's very demanded, highly demanded. Because it's so flexible and it's so quick. I used to do inking in the beginning of my college life, and then I realized it's not slow. It's very intricate and it's very professional. Yeah, but once the client said, "Oh, I want to change this. I want to change her eyes," then you're like.
Yeah, I understand.
You have to draw, or you have to, you draw a new one, and then you scan it into Photoshop, and then you overlay, and then you basically
cannot undo.
Yeah, you cannot undo. Like your hands want to undo, but you cannot undo. So it's like, the traditional media is still wanted, but it's not that quick. The process definitely takes longer. Yeah.
For the working and client is more probably on the digital side, so it's recommended.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, right. Okay, going to our third question. So, what is your thought process behind the working and dealing with a client work, and how do you immerse yourself in the problem and solve it?
Deadline. If the project is very fun, of course, after seeing like the Netflix one, after seeing the brief, I'm like immediately can work on it. But there are like in reality, there are like so many boring jobs that feed you that you have to do on a daily basis. You just be motivated by the timeline. If there's a problem, if you cannot work it out, then you work on something else first, and then like die you will think of something, and then okay, if you have a problem you cannot solve, then you work on a not so good solution first. Maybe you have 3 options, so you die you one option first, and then you don't really like it, so you don't sell the idea, but you pitch it anyway. Then the second one, maybe, hey, I'm getting used to this project, so now I'm putting more effort into this project. So okay, second one, I like it more. And the third one is suddenly at the last minute you think of something very good, and then usually you will like that one, and then you sell it as the last one, and then the client would always pick that one. Yeah, so it's always the timeline that motivates us.
And it's, yeah, and it's like even though the previous work your client didn't pick it, but maybe in the future it's useful also, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think here's we got the last question. How long does it usually to take? How long does it usually take to learn a new art style for a project? Like just now, you guys said that you guys tried lots of new art styles, right?
Try. I think it doesn't take very long. Okay, if it's a 3D. Okay, recently a client approached us to do a game design, and he wanted us to paint in 3D, and then he gave us like 2 days to learn how to pick up 3D.
Yeah, so we learned the new software, Substance Painter, like in 1 day.
Yeah, in 1 day. And
so in real world, like they really forced you to.
Yeah, if they want you to.
out of your comfort zone, you die have to do it.
And if the art style they want, the die force you want to draw this art style, and then you cannot do it, and you just do one more that is nicer and in your comfortable art style, then you send them both. And then you say, see, this one not so nice. See, this one is better. Then they were like,
yeah, understandable.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost thing like you're handing in assignment, but yeah.
Then compare, then it's like, oh, they will know that, oh, this one is nicer. Then they will
it's not like I 不想故意不要做，是真的吗？
Alright. Okay, we still have one more question. So, have you ever rejected any boring job or brief?
Yes. Yes.
I think our principle as a business as for real studio, we usually take on jobs based on 2 criteria only. One, if it's not boring, if it's interesting, then we take it. Then second is if it pays good.
Yeah, if it's boring and it pays good,
take it. I mean, come on, COVID. I mean, you want to choose a moment.
I mean, we've rejected like unrealistic expectations. Like maybe someone approached us and said, "Oh, I want to draw a school textbook with 200 pages, but you have to do it in 1 month." Like, like, you tell them like this is not realistic. The deadline is maybe we can do it in 2 or 3 months. Is it okay with you? If they said cannot, they die want you rush, then sorry, you just tell them find someone else cheaper and find someone quicker. It's their loss. That if they really still want you, they would try to negotiate with you. So yeah.
All right.
It's not kind of boring, but it's like not letting the job become even if it's interesting. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, so we still have sometimes maybe we have another question here. Okay. So, how would you suggest for us to find freelance job or project for a kickstart when we lack of experience and connection?
First thing is definitely you have to have a portfolio. Like, to be honest, we started, like I said, I'm an advertising and graphic design graduate, so not so much of children's books portfolio, like zero basically. And then started drawing like after graduation, before I get any jobs, just start drawing nonstop and start doing what you like, or like I really wanted a Netflix job, so I drew a Netflix portfolio. Like I drew Harry Potter portfolio. So if you really want something, just create something fake and then you post it on like ArtStation, Behance. There's a like Fiverr. There's a lot of freelance apps and websites you can use, and just see which one you prefer. Some are in USD, some is very localized. Yeah, you are surprised at how easily people would reach out to you, especially on Behance. If your work is good, like to me, I usually draw things like if I draw a Harry Potter project, which is fake, I would draw at least 3 and make it into a legit portfolio that people can see. Oh, not only one picture. So people would think that when people think of Harry Potter project, they'll see, oh, I remember this illustration. This girl did the Harry Potter thing, and they would really look for you and yeah, find you. So
Yeah.
Okay, just
Like our lecturer always encourage us to post our work into the Behance or any social media, like to maybe at least we have some exposure. Then maybe somebody are looking for you like that. Yeah.
Good advice from a good lecturer.
Yeah, good lecturer. Yeah, really, because we had, we knew someone that really, one lecturer that was very against posting online because our work is like, we spend so much time on it and we post it free online, but it's the only way to get exposure nowadays when it's so competitive and you're stuck at home. Like you can't even go out to do a graduation exhibition. So posting online is definitely free promotion.
It's investments also, right?
Yeah, because like when you post, maybe you posted in year 2020, it's 0 views, but eventually 10 months after you would have 100 views, 200 views. So if you don't post it, nobody will see it at all. It's a waste.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think
so
the
we have
very
one more
last question.
Okay, so for fan art commission, do we have to ask the original creator for permission? Like
fan art commission, I've never had. Whoa, sorry, my cat just. For fan art commissions, I've never had like requests for commissions for that that specific character, but mostly is can you draw me with this character together, or for that. Sorry, my cat is running around. Yeah, for that kind, I would always advise my client to not sell it. So I would tell them, oh, this is copyrighted, you can't resell that art. And of course, like when I posted my Harry Potter fan art, my Stranger Things fan art, people will ask me, can I buy it as a print? I said, oh no, but you can just download it onto your phone, or you can print it.
Use, right?
Yeah, but no commercial use. So yeah, I hope that helps.
okay. Now we still have 1 more minute, but it's okay. So we still have one question. Okay, so as we all know, aesthetic is very subjective. If the art style or direction we had are not that accepted by the publics, what is your advice for them to look for new path of future improving?
Aesthetic.
I think there's a fine line. I mean, I think this question kind of highlights the difference between artists and designers. So as designers, these are called commercial art.
Yeah, you have to meet a brief. So if
it has to at least has commercial value, that means it's accepted by public, most of the public. I mean, it has to have commercial value, I would say.
I mean, some people just draw pattern designs for fun. Okay, if your art style does not work for like a Uniqlo ad, when a Uniqlo client asks you specifically, can you draw something like this for me? Then it doesn't work. It has to, as a designer, your art style has to meet the balance between the client's expectations and your own expectations, and then you can find the balance between what both of you feel that is aesthetically acceptable. So you can't just say that, oh, my art is aesthetically pleasing, but the client 没有眼光. So it doesn't work that way, because when you're a designer, you have to solve problems. But when you're an artist, you just want to sell prints, go ahead, just draw whatever you want. So it's really what is your aim? to sell? Like, what service are you selling? Do you want to sell an art print, or do you want to work on a project with a client? Yeah.
It's like two ways that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think our Q&A session is end. So we are so happy that our participants are actually engaging with our speaker. So thank you so much for our speaker.
Thank you. I don't feel so alone now.
Okay. So it's the end of the session. And thank you so much for Lyn-Hui again for sharing her experience. So
And also his partner.
Yeah.
Also Gina.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we hope everyone learned something today. So that's all.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Okay. For participants, wait for me first. We still got a gift for you guys.
Okay, so if you are seeing the QR code, so from our sponsor, one of our sponsor, New Era, so they are sponsoring 2 QR code, which is Artline and Zebra. So you guys can scan this QR code and get a discount for buying Artline on Lazada and Zebra on Shopee. Yeah. So and also last thing, later 4 p.m. for the participants who actually participated the Find the Hibiscus mini game, you actually have 5 chances. We have our last 5 prizes to win. So please stay tuned to our last session of the lucky draw. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, guys. Okay, I think that's all for the session now. Thank you guys for the participation.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day and happy National Day. Bye.